but not so deep that you couldn't make out her features if you were attentive and made an effort. That was the genius of the photo. Her body was wholly visible, but her face was hidden, and the natural human desire to flesh out what is concealed meant that the viewer neglected the model's naked body, as splendid as it was, to search for her face. Laura didn't read the picture that way. That's why men want to be photographers, to get women to disrobe and exhibit themselves. Well, it could be worse. It's the only one in the file, done tastefully, at least to my eyes. People have been doing nudes for quite some time now. You could even say it's a tradition. Men have, she corrected me, while women have been the models. I let the subject lie. I could hardly expect Laura to enjoy looking at a photo of a naked woman and see the tension I saw in it. I would have lingered further with the picture, but that would have to wait until I had a moment of contemplation by myself. The third photo was a close-up of a Buddhist monk. He was smiling broadly, beatifically, his mouth open. Humans typically have 32 teeth, but he seemed to have twice that many. The flash glanced off his glasses. He could have been blind, and we would not have known. Why a Buddhist monk? The robes said that to me, and the Asian face, though a person didn't have to be Asian to be Buddhist, or a monk. The photographer had cut off the top of his head at the hairline. Here is the source of the rapture, I told Laura. Rapture isn't an Asian thing, she corrected me. They don't get sucked up to heaven the way we do. I know of what I speak. I had an Asian period a long time ago, before I came down to earth and met you. That was the thing to do, being Zen and all that. I even read Alan Watts. So a monk losing his wingtips, not very likely. But look, the photo cuts off his legs at his knees, and the top of his head. The poor guy is missing a couple of parts. Aren't we all? Laura gave that comment a pass. She was right. It was a pretty standard thing to say. I wonder how the monk feels about that happening to him. I doubt the photographer cared. He shoots nearly all his portraits that way. Where did these pictures come from? Laura wanted to know. And what are they doing on my kitchen table? They're for a job. A guy from an art press asked me to write a monograph about the photographer. It's going to be part of a show in a gallery. He's my next subject. A pair of abandoned shoes, a naked woman, and a monk. I wonder where you're going to go with that. I don't know yet, but I'll send you a postcard when I get there. Another of your projects out in the margins, adopting orphans and over-investing in them. That might have seemed hostile, but coming from Laura, it was just her common way of teasing me. I responded in kind. Emotional overinvestment is the basis of what I do, and when I finish, I move on, that much the richer from my investments. You know that about me by now. The only time I didn't move on was with you. She sniffed and exhaled in showy fashion. She was a rare woman, indifferent to compliments, another one of the pillars of our partnership. What else do you have in your grab bag? She pointed at the folder. I wasn't intending to show her the rest. There were some pretty sad subjects, derelict people on their way out of this world, and Laura could get sad just by looking at the visual representation of sadness. I did not want to aid and abet that mood. I carefully drew out the photo of a young teenager playing a pinball machine. Black Hole, the machine was called, made by the Gottlieb Company of Chicago. The photo dated back to a time when a player could enjoy the chance for that kind of solitary victory. A summer picture. The boy was not wearing a shirt and was unself-conscious about it, so maybe he wasn't a teenager yet, but somewhere close to it. He had his arms wrapped around the machine. He was going to coax a free game out of it one way or another. Wow, the glare of the flash off the glass again. You can hardly see the kid's face. I didn't know a photo was supposed to do that. I didn't think so either, but I'll find out why the guy did it. There must be a reason. I'll find out what it is. I gave the picture another look. The machine was playing the boy, but I have said enough obvious things for one evening. These pictures are all old-school black and white. The guy hasn't been very active lately. That's the deal. The show is supposed to bring him back. Later on, when Laura was in her favorite chair in the next room, reading a novel by a British woman who excelled